Okay, in this video I'm going to talk to you about rotations. For this section, the rotations we're going to talk about are clockwise rotations, and they're all going to be rotating around the origin. You need a point to rotate something around, and so we're going to rotate that around 0, 0 to make things easier. And then we're going to talk about three different types of rotation: 90 degrees, 180, and 270. And the fourth one would be 360, but if you rotated 360 degrees, you'd be right back to where you started from. So don't need to go over that. Okay, and then counterclockwise is turning to the left. Alright, so everything we're going to do is turning to the left. So 90-degree rotation is like a 1/4 turn to the left, 180 is 2/4 turns to the left, and 270 is 3/4 turns to the left. And basically you can sum that up by following these properties with the coordinates. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an example of each one, and you'll see it moving a 1/4 turn, 2/4 turn, or 3/4 turn. Alright, so the first example, you're going to rotate it 90 degrees. So 90-degree rotation says x comma y becomes negative y comma x. So I'm going to look at my coordinates, and I'm going to write down p prime, q prime, and r prime. Okay, and so it says negative y comma x. So the y coordinate was 1, so now I'm going to make that negative 1. And then the x coordinate stays the same, but moves into the y spot. So negative y comma x for q prime would be, well, 4, 5 turns into negative 5, 4. And now we'll look at the y coordinate on r, 5, 1, so 1 becomes negative 1, and then 5. Okay, so that's how I know what my coordinates are, and then I'll just plot those points over to the right. Okay, so as I look at the points that I very poorly graphed, you can see that it did turn a little to the left, and so like Q was the point on top, so turning it 1/4 turn to the left kind of made it go onto the side, and so now it's the point going off to the side, and now R is the top point. That's what a 90-degree rotation looks like. Excuse me, just kind of trying to talk through a yawn there. Okay, so here I have this parallelogram, and I'm going to rotate it 180 degrees. So 180-degree rotation, the coordinates stay in the same order, just flip both the signs. Okay, so f prime is going to be negative 2, negative 1. G prime is going to be negative 7, negative 1. Oh, sorry. H prime, negative 6, positive 3. And J prime, negative 1, positive 3. Okay, so I just need to graph those to the right. Okay, so when I graph it across a 180-degree rotation, you can see that it made 2 turns to the left, and so what that's going to look like is the points that were on bottom, J and H, are now on top, and now it's H, J, the order kind of flipped. So that's pretty much what a 180 reflection is going to look like. Okay, the last one to go over is a 270-degree rotation, and that one's almost exactly like the 90-degree rotation. So you flip the coordinates, only instead of it being negative y comma x, it's now going to be positive y, or just regular y comma negative x. So you're going to flip them and change the sign on the what was the original x coordinate. Okay, so here I can see my f, g, h, and j. So I'm going to write down f prime. I'm going to flip it. So that's going to be 1, 2, only the original x is now negative, so it's going to be 1, negative 2. Okay, so g prime, the original x is now negative, so 1, negative 7. H prime, the original, so negative 3. And original x was 6, so now it's negative 6. And j prime, negative 3, and now it's at negative 1, negative 1. Okay, so let's graph those points to the right. Okay, so when you do a 3/4 turn to the left, if you were to look at the back left point, J, if you were to rotate that 3/4 turns, that would be 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. In other words, since J's at the bottom left, now it's going to be on the top left, J prime. And that's how all the other points are going to move. F was at the top left, so if I were to do like where F prime's going to go, that's 1, 2, 3 spots. Now it's going to be on the top right. And see, so that's kind of how you can maybe check your work, but really it's just make sure you graphed it right and make sure you follow the rules. There's only 3 rules, 90, 180, and 270. Just make sure you know these rules. Alright, and that's it for rotations. Thank you. Bye.